everyone, and welcome again to Leaders Uncut. It's so great to have you here with us again. And today it's my great pleasure to have with us Bob Bova, who is the founder and CEO of AccuSpeechMobile. Hello, Bob. How are you doing today?
I'm well, Catherine. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's so great to have you with us here today. I can't wait for you to tell us about your story, your background, what you are doing with AccuSpeechMobile. That is a device-based solution voice, right? That enables and automates supply chains and warehouse distribution, field services, and so on. So maybe we start there. You can give us a bit of a background of yourself and how you got AccuSpeechMobile started.
Well, back in the early 2000s, I had worked on a few other startup companies and sold one, took one public, and then wanted to come back to Southern California and the started to look for companies and found this company and got involved in 2006 and really kind of took it over in 2008. And things worked out really, really well. We have a wonderful technology that was what I would consider ahead of its time, and it's now really starting to hit its stride, which is very exciting for us. And we've had a lot of success recently, and continue to do so. We have been very, very busy over the last year, so we're excited. We're building our what I would consider our core business in warehousing and distribution, but we're also starting to expand into mobile inspection and maintenance and repair, primarily because of the uniqueness of the AccuSpeech technology, which is a device-based technology. It doesn't need to be connected to the cloud. It can work offline. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to it that allow it to be utilized in lots of different markets for lots of different things. So we're
Mhm.
starting to have a lot of success expanding, but our core demographic is warehousing, and we are expanding with a lot of new customers, 3PLs, manufacturers who want to have voice automation through various workflows in there. Inside the warehouse, outside the warehouse, they're using it for a lot of different things. So it's a very exciting time for us.
It
Very.
is for sure. So I'd love maybe you if you can explain the process, how it works. That's the first question I have for you. And then another question I have for you is why would a company need a device-based voice automation product like that?
Well, many of the organizations that we speak with utilize barcode scanning or RFID readers primarily for data collection and authentication. So those types of devices are connected to a back-end warehouse management system, warehouse WCS, an ERP system, and many of these workers are collecting data and going through workflows to pick, pack, recycle, count, shipping, receiving, all different types of implementation workflows. So by being able to voice automate these workflows, cutting down the amount of time and the amount of steps it takes to do it, we can also improve worker safety. In addition, we can get the user, the workers, to just pop on a headset and don't have to constantly look down at the device. They can get their cues from the actual application itself.
Mm.
So it makes them much more effective. It can be a significant error reducer as well, and really speed up productivity and get folks working optimally. It
Mhm.
also gives the opportunity for the warehouse management system to be utilized to its full capacity, being able to go a little quicker, being able to get data more effectively, more efficiently. We also have a way to parse data so that we can keep it and use it later in the warehouse management system, or we can send it at any time on any screen. So there's a lot of automation that can occur in the background utilizing a voice technology like AccuSpeech. So
Yeah.
a lot of companies are really starting to take advantage of the advanced capability that we provide that no other company that's in our space can actually do. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we all know safety, productivity, speed are becoming more and more critical nowadays, right? And especially with the arrival of all these great emerging technologies. So, talking about that, how is that impacting your business and has it changed anything?
The overall concern about workers and getting enough workers. I mean, right now the economy is doing pretty well. I mean, stock market's at an all-time high. Production is very high. So the ability to take the workforce that you have and make them more effective, make them more productive, allows for companies to have a little bit of a respite from having to wonder where they're going to get their next workers, or can they get enough workers, or all the things that are going on right now. So we can come in and we can really assist in these, helping these companies cut down significantly on each individual workflow, each pick, every time they receive cycle count. All these things can be utilized multiple times on a single device, so that users can become much more effective and much more productive. And that way management can really control exactly what the workflow does and how the data is collected, but also has a sincere effect on making their workers much more productive, effective, and important in the organization. So we work very hard with both sides of that equation. We work really hard to get worker input so that it's easier and better for them, and we get good input from the folks who are managing those people, so that we get exactly what it is that they want to accomplish, so that the data has integrity and they can make good decisions in the future regarding everything that we collect. So.
Okay, so workers can come from different countries too, right? So they may not speak a perfect English, maybe they have an accent.
Exactly.
How do you
Yes.
maintain accuracy in voice recognition across accents and dialects, maybe ideal acoustic systems or
That's
setup?
a that's a terrific question, and we run into it all the time. You have pockets, especially I mean in the U.S. and also in Europe, lots of different dialects, lots of different types of accents, and our technology, we support 56 languages currently. So we can also support multiple languages on a single device, on a single project. So you can go back and forth. But one of the most important things that we do is we also have a phoneme based type of implementation, so that if you are in a specific area of the world and they have a specific type of an accent, we can make sure that the what is recognized is phoneme based. So how you say it and how it sounds matches up with what we're going to actually receive on the device. So we work with our customers during the implementation phase to get the highest scores possible for recognition, regardless of what language it is, regardless of what accents there are and what dialects they have. That's one of the things that makes us really, really unique, is that when we go in and we do user acceptance testing, we take all this into consideration. And by the time we're done, we get the highest recognition scores we can get, especially on Android, just a terrific operating system to utilize for recognition. So
it's a beautiful
yep,
thing, isn't it? Yes. Go ahead.
no, we've just worked really hard on that, because it's important as we go around, and like, so we have installations all around the world, and we run into specific areas where there are very thick dialects or very thick accents.
Right.
So that's an important question for potential customers to ask too. How does your vendor deal with that type of a challenge? Because we have specific tools that we utilize now that really help us. So.
It is a major differentiator and it's a critical one.
I agree. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree.
Yeah. So let's talk about value and ROI, return on investment. People always have this question, right? When they engage new technologies, they work with a new company. Can you tell us about the most common use cases where clients see immediate value in weeks, months from deploying your solution?
Most of the time, our technology is deployed in a picking environment, because picking has the highest density in any warehouse or distribution center. And the legacy of voice in the warehouse actually started with picking. The large legacy systems are voice-directed picking systems. They reside on servers that sit in warehouses, and they basically tell you where to go and what to do, and they connect to the back-end warehouse management system. It is a very, very heavy type of an implementation. It can be very complicated. It can be very sophisticated. It can take a lot for security to connect to there's just a lot to it. And that really hasn't changed for those legacy type of vendors very much. It's still pretty much the same. Our technology is device based. There is no server, there is no back end connectivity, there is no middleware, no third party software needed. everything we do is on the device. So we turn the information that we collect, all that data, into a 1 and 0 before it even hits the network. So it just looks like regular data to the network. So everything stays exactly the same, which is a big change. That was a big change in our market. We have the ability to go in and have an immediate impact. It only takes 4 to 5 weeks to deploy from pen to production.
Right.
And what we try to do is really work hard on optimizing the workflow, eliminating steps, automatically collecting data, automatically putting it into the software and into the application where it needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that allows us to have some terrific ROIs. Another important aspect of our stuff is that we can voice enable multiple applications on a single device. So you can have receiving, shipping, cycle count, picking, all on that same device with just a single software license. So all of a sudden it becomes it comes even faster to get an ROI because you can get even more productivity for other implementations. And we don't charge by user, we charge by device, which is unique in our industry as well. There's a lot of ways that we can provide a very cost-effective solution with an ROI, I would say 90% of the time in less than 11 months.
That's wonderful, because I mean that's the main concern that people have, right? They have to make sure it can be implemented fast and they see returns on their investment right away or fast. So let's talk about the adoption a little bit more here, Bob, because I think it's really important. People have that question. How do you approach training and change management and buy-in from the frontline staff?
I would say that challenge is always very important because people generally push back against change anyway. So it's difficult to get people to change how they do their work, especially because it's important to them because it's how they make their living. What we do is we'll come in for a week and we'll observe and we'll work with the team and see exactly how they're doing their work now. How does the workflow look? How does the process look? And we say, hey, how do we make this easier for you? How can we make this better for you? What can we skip? What can we add? What can we do? So we get buy-in from the folks who are on the front line. Plus, we also get the buy-in from management saying, hey, this is what we'd like to do. We'd like to see a 30% improvement in production, and we'd like to cut our errors by, as much as we can. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the folks on the front lines can be just absolutely instrumental in helping us figure out the best ways to do that because they know that workflow better than anybody. They use it every day. So we'll watch them for a week, look at the workflow, look at the application, look how they're collecting the data, how they're integrating with the devices. Then we'll come back and we will build that project accordingly and put in as much automation as we possibly can. Then we go back for a week of what we call user acceptance testing. And this is where we do the real fine tuning. This is where we look at the accents and we modulate the grammars so that they're specific to whatever's going on there. This is where we take a look at the automation that we've done. And then what we can do is we can say, and this is generally how it works. We'll come in that first day, we'll load 4 or 5 of the devices, whether they're tablets or barcode scanners, whatever they are, and we'll tell 5 users, okay, here you go. Here's the headset, and run through it with them and say, okay, go do a shift. And they'll go do a shift, and then they'll come back and we'll go, okay, what do you think? Well, this is great, but this is too slow. Can you speed this up? And when I say this, can I skip to here, or can I get where I'm going to go next quickly after I say? And so we'll take all that input, and while they're having lunch, we'll make all those changes for them, recompile it, send it to the devices, and go, okay, here you go, try this. And then they'll come back after that shift, say, okay, it doesn't recognize the word 7 really well, it doesn't, or whatever, and then we'll take all that feedback, and we do that for a full 5 days. Okay. So after one full 5-day work week, it is fully optimized, customized for that specific implementation, that application, those accents, everything. So then we work with the company, say, okay, let's roll it out. You want to roll it out one site at a time, one shift at a time, however you want to do it. And then we'll work with them on rolling out the implementation just to make sure everything's okay. During that week, ordinarily, we'll also train someone at the site, at the customer, on the actual SDK toolkit themselves so that they can actually make changes. They can voice enable other applications. They can actually use the technology as they see fit as best as it can be.
Mhm.
And that makes us very, very different. We don't come in and drop something in the middle and tell everybody how to do it. We really work with the company to say, okay, how do we optimize what you're doing? Get feedback from everyone, take what we see, make it better. And by the time it's done and it's in production, it's as if they've been using it the whole time. So
That's
that's the feeling we try to get with our customers.
And that's critical because most executives are already very busy, and it worries them when they know they have to organize training and implement a new system, and it require also the understanding of maybe the board. I mean, it's sometimes very challenging, right? So when you really ease that process, it's a lot easier to bring in something like what you offer, for sure.
It's much easier to get folks to lean into change when they're changing something they're already very familiar with.
Right.
If you're going to completely rip out and replace and give them something completely foreign to them, and you have to change into that, there's a lot of trepidation. But if it's something that they've been doing all along and you're just adding something to it to make it better, there's a comfort level that you achieve.
Mhm.
The ability to say, hey, this is what you've been doing all along. It's the same device, it's the same workflow. It's the same thing, only we're just adding this voice automation component to it. So we're trying to make it so that it's safer. You can keep your eyes on what you're doing. You can not necessarily look down. It's going to make it better for you too. And many of the companies are very smart. They'll take a look at how things were before, and then they'll bonus their employees. They'll say, okay, since we're going to do it, we're going to have productivity improve. If you can improve this much using, this new deployment, we're going to give you a little, an extra 5%, or we're going to get however they want to do it, and that goes over very, very well
And
because then all of a sudden they're being rewarded, and their skill sets are being augmented. All of a sudden they're using something that's really interesting, really 21st century, really okay. This is going to add to your quiver of skills, and that's we work very hard to try to get people to understand that this has never been and continues not to be a replacement for workers technology. This is a technology that allows folks to do their job better and faster, and that's really what we emphasize.
yeah, I mean, that also has an impact on the hiring process, I would imagine, when you present what you do and how you really emphasize employee skills. You probably can attract much better quality employees as well, right? Have you seen that happen?
And the thing that's really interesting, you're absolutely right. And one of the things that we work very hard, especially here, we're based in Southern California,
Right.
and we have a very high concentration of Spanish speaking individuals.
Yeah.
But the Spanish speaking individuals, and even the English, I mean, they speak what we call Spanglish, right? It's this mishmash of, a little bit of both, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We can actually build that into as well. And we actually try to give the workers at our customers, if they want to say adios instead of goodbye, or we can mix that together so that, again, they feel that it's more comfortable and more customized to them for their needs. And we work really hard to do that.
Hmm.
And I don't think there really isn't anybody else out there that does that like we do.
Hmm.
So the whole idea is to make everyone feel like they're part of the process.
Right.
Their input's important, and how they utilize the technology is in their best interest as well as the company. I mean, we're not going to say it's not, but everyone's part of of the program, and that's what we really work hard to get that kind of buy-in from every level.
It is. It's a smooth integration, which is really important. So, Bob, can you tell us about your ideal clients? You mentioned warehousing, which is obvious. So, are you focusing mostly on warehousing? What other industries can benefit from your systems and solutions?
Well, warehousing again is our real core demographic.
Right,
We're 3PLs and manufacturers who
right,
distribute. I mean, those are our big customers.
okay.
However, we have seen a new burgeoning market in mobile inspection and maintenance and repair when folks are going out and using barcodes to identify different things, parts and cars or whatever. And what we're seeing is the ability to listen to things to do, or help with different flows in terms of fixing things. Or if you look at a home inspection, that's just filling in forms. We could easily help folks to do that. And one of the things we do is we can fill in forms automatically. If there's specific formats, you can say one thing and fill in the format of a form very, very quickly. Again, all on mobile devices, whether they're offline or online. So this really gives a lot of flexibility to those two markets in terms of being able to utilize a voice input mechanism so that they can do their work a lot faster and a lot more effectively.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, there is a new market inside the warehousing market, and it is cold storage and food and beverage. There is a new what's called FSMA 204. It's an FDA requirement that's coming in to the environment that says there has to be trackability and traceability for all foodstuffs from literally from farmer to consumer. And they are requiring the lot numbers, expiry dates, all kinds of information that you can find on a GS1 barcode. And we are now GS1 barcode technology partners. There are up to 300 data points that you can get in multiple GS1 barcodes to meet these requirements. And what we've developed is a way to parse all that data and all those barcodes and put them in the appropriate spots automatically for our customers. So that if you are a cold storage 3PL or you're a manufacturer does cold storage or anything like that, we can help companies meet those requirements with voice automation or even without voice automation, but most folks use voice. But to be able to take all that data and meet those FSMA 204 requirements from the FDA. Now this is going to go live. Oh gosh, I forget. The date has been moved many times, but it is coming, and we are working with companies right now. 4 very large companies. We have 2 POCs this week. We had 2 last week specifically for this type of implementation to collect this data to help set up reporting for this data and to be able to utilize it so the customers can utilize it so that their customers, the big, I'm not, name names, but any type of company that does food or beverage manufacturing, they're now saying to their 3PLs and their distributors, we want to see what you're doing to make sure that we can meet this requirement.
Mm.
And we're helping customers do that. So that has become kind of a little mini subset business that we're working with our resellers and directly to help these organizations make that, because it was something that people had talked about, but now that it's becoming a requirement, I think companies are really jumping on board saying, this actually is a really good thing to have. And we really want to have a strategy moving forward to be able to do this so that we have the traceability and trackability. We know where everything is, where it came from, just in case there's ever any type of event where you have to go back and see, for public safety where this came from and, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we're working very, very hard inside that industry with the GS1 folks, with Zebra Technologies. We've worked really hard with them, integrating with their data wedge on their device so that we can really speed the capability of parsing all this data and being able to utilize it the way the customer needs it. So I know it's not really a different market, but it's really kind of a subset of the warehousing market that's really kind of exploded for us. And we continue to see there's going to be a need for that in the next 2, 3, 4 years. So we have some focus on that.
For sure. I mean, there's a gigantic opportunity. The food industry is enormous, first of all. They have pretty great profit margins, so there's definitely money there. But also the incentive here, when you have an FDA requirement, I mean, you better get ready and incorporate the right systems, right?
Well, yes, and there's a lot of great companies that we've partnered with that have specificity in different areas, getting growers to get comfortable with using barcodes and integrating a software application that helps them. I mean, you're talking about some small organic farmers, that have to be able to get into this workflow process and be able to handle this data, and they need help. And there's a lot of good companies out there that are doing that, and we're partnered with a lot of them. So because not every company can go all the way, to utilize a very overused phrase, farm to table, right?
Yeah.
But there is a lot of companies that have some specificity in different areas, but some that do complete, and then they can come in and they can really help. And what we've said is, we love what you do. We like, your application. We see where it adds tremendous value. We can voice automate it for you, because if you're using a barcode scanner and you're collecting that data and you want to have all that information available to the application, we can do that with a single scan. We can make it that easy. So we're starting to partner with a lot of those companies too, because they have the wonderful applications to be able to meet the need. We have the ability to just turbocharge it, which is really very interesting.
Well, and I think what's also important to notice here is you're not forcing them to change everything. You are really an end product.
Right. It's always been an augmentative technology. That's one of the things that always differentiated us from the legacy systems, which are, big server in the middle of the room. This is how you're going to do it. It's, no, we don't integrate with barcode scanning. No, you got to do it this way. No, you have to do it that way. And oh, by the way, you need to buy this big software module from the WMS vendor. All that goes away. So now we can focus on collecting the data, doing it all at the device, and then where do you want to send it? What do you want it to look like, basically?
Right. Yeah.
And that's a big benefit for a lot of these companies, because they all have their own implementations of their application. They all do it a different way, and most of them are extremely effective. The last thing we want to do is touch any of that effectiveness and throughput. We want to make it better, and that's what we do here.
Yeah, where you have accessibility, you have speed of implementation, you have ease of integration. I mean, all of those are critical components that someone who will make this type of choice is going to look into for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes. So, Bob, what do you see? How do you see the future of voice automation beyond the warehouse? I mean, we talked about the food industry, but you also maybe retail, conservation. Is there anything there as well?
I think that voice has had a very interesting history. Voice started in the warehouse back in the 90s, believe it or not. It was one of the very first businesses, that actually said, voice would work great here. And it was Walmart and Giant Foods in Pittsburgh that invested in a small startup to say, hey, this is kind of what we'd like to have. And they built it, and it worked fantastically well. So it's interesting that a market that some people will paint as slow to move, in some ways was so far ahead of the curve before anybody else, as if and using voice and barcodes and putting all that together in data collection and really streamlining it, which is really pretty amazing. Then in the 20 teens here, we had Alexa, we had Siri, so all these engines started to come along, and the issue became, oh gosh, voice is going to do this, that, and the other thing. And then it all kind of took a big step backward, because people got frustrated. All it really was like a voice-enabled browser, and it wasn't really great. And then it was just good for calling up music on your Alexa. I mean, so people got a little disenfranchised with it. They thought it was going to be great, and then it wasn't as great as they would hoped it was going to be. And that's primarily because people are looking now, and now you look at large language models, right? They're looking at AI large language models. And again, these things are gigantic, right? So they're in the cloud, and they have huge processing needs, and it takes a ton of processing. So the whole idea of that kind of a model of voice is enormous. And yes, there are wonderful applications for it, but we've always been of the belief that if we could make it smaller and more compact and more specifically effective for data collection and focus it so that it was integrated on specific applications, instead of being just an overarching say this and we'll go out and find something, we always felt that there was going to be a need for that. The ability to focus attention with voice and be able to know the answers to the questions through any type of workflow or any type of consumer flow would be important. And now all of a sudden it is becoming important. The ability to be able to use voice interactively with specific applications on devices that potentially aren't connected to the internet or aren't connected to the cloud.
Right.
It is becoming a very, very important technology. So we are looking for additional ways so that we can work with other companies and integrate our capability primarily as an OEM, so that we can say, okay, look, we're not saying that you have to do it this way. What we're saying is that you can turn this on, and voice automation will work for your data collection. It'll work for this. It'll work for your home inspection. It'll work for your car inspection. It'll work for the state. It'll work for anything you want to voice automate on a device specific to the application you want to build it for, instead of very large natural language models that are in the cloud that just do huge things. They're wonderful and they have terrific implications. What we're saying is that it works the other way too. Yeah. If you focus and you really want to have something where you can use any type of data collection, and you want to have a voice automated capability for it, we can provide that. The ability for large language models in the cloud and on servers and things, well, not so servers anymore, pretty much in the cloud, is very important for all kinds of research and development. And I mean, it's terrific stuff. We really focus on one application at a time. Yes. and try to get it so that we can add this capability to it, regardless of what vertical market you may be in. So
yes, go ahead.
That's where we are.
Okay, but that's comforting, I think, for a lot of leaders. LLMs are great, but there's always also a safety security issue there, right? Especially with all the cyber threats that we're experiencing right now. That could be an issue. So a lot of people are looking for device-based or more localized solutions that are maybe safer, or at least give them the certainty of control, which they may not have otherwise. Is that something that you see when someone has to make this type of decision?
Most definitely, especially when you speak to the companies that really take pride in understanding what their applications do, how they collect their data, what they use the data for, how they use it for decision support. These and those are the bulk of our customers. We work with customers that really say, Bob, we want to control it. We want to make the changes when we want to make them. When we add things, we want to be able to add them. We don't want to depend on anyone else. And that also makes AccuSpeech very unique, because we give the tools to our customers to do that.
Right.
So the ability to have it on your own device, doing it the way you want it to do, and not have to depend on going out to the internet, not have to depend on going into the cloud. Again, wonderful implementations for again, LLMs, like you say, but it doesn't necessarily fit for specific targeted application usage of voice automation. It makes it very, very difficult, because people, workers, consumers expect immediate response. They don't like to wait. So even when you're using your Alexa or your Siri, you wait. That was the first thing that people got really frustrated with. It took a long time. Now it is better, but still, when you're working, you want that to be automatic. You want it to be just instantaneous. Being on the device makes it so. And that sets us apart quite a bit.
It does. I mean, it's instant gratification. This is what people want, but it's instant control gratification too, right? Which is very important in your case, in the case of the people that you're serving here. Right. Sounds great. Sounds really great, Bob. So tell us, if someone is interested in working with you, what's the best way to get hold of you?
Oh, they can go to the website, AccuSpeechMobile.com, or they can email me at Bova@AccuSpeechMobile.com. We're happy to talk to everybody.
And so you service people. You service people all over the U.S. Do you go to Canada too, or?
Oh no, we're around the world. So, okay. Like I said, we support all kinds of languages. We have implementations in Greece, France. We have them everywhere. England. I mean, so it's wherever folks need implementations. We have help there. So
a global solution, very effective, that brings ROI very fast and really help companies improve productivity and level up also the skills of our own employees, which is very important, especially nowadays.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So you have done, of course, you've been working on this for a long time. You have great experience. So if you had an advice to give to leaders or to entrepreneurs that are working at launching something, or maybe that are working at changing somehow or upgrading what they're doing in their own business, what would that be, Bob?
I'd say there are two things. One would be really understand who your customer is, the value that you bring to that customer, and how much will they pay for it. The many entrepreneurs, they have this wonderful idea that they think is just fabulous, but then they go out to the market and there's really not a customer for it. The whole point of entrepreneurship is, filling a niche, a need, a market, having a solution that, in the old days we used to say solves some pain for the user.
Yeah.
So being able to really understand who your customer is, what problem you're solving, and what the best model is to solve that problem, and what they'll pay for it. What is the real value of it is very important. If you've done that, the next thing I can honestly say is just don't give up. Just don't quit. If you're ahead of the curve and your technology is just a little bit ahead, or and you have to wait a little bit, just do everything you can just to stick it out. If you have a customer or customers and they're using it and they love it, then it can stretch. But if you have value and people have already proven that for you, then just keep at it.
It's key. Most people, I think it's 90% of people or entrepreneurs give up. I mean, it's a very high percentage of people that start something, and if they don't see results right away, they just say, hey, it's not working, right?
Right. And I think I saw a statistic somewhere that said 72% of the entrepreneurs that give up usually do so right before, if someone else buys it, then something really good happens. So they get to take advantage of everything that you did.
Yeah.
But if you just keep, but I understand that life happens and sometimes you have to do what you have to do.
Of course.
But still, it's usually the ones that have the perseverance that do well. So
nothing great happens overnight. I always tell everyone, if you really want something, you have to fight for it. You have to prove that you have the skills and the willingness and the strength to push barriers, to climb over walls, and to be a warrior. You have to be a warrior as an entrepreneur.
And just really respect your people. Just
Yes.
I mean, and just really understand that they're in it with you, and you may get frustrated, but they're frustrated too, and they're working hard, and to make sure that you have a good connection to all the folks, especially if you're in a real startup and you've only got 4 or 5 of you. I mean, just make sure you're connected, and as you grow, make sure that connection stays. Don't get disconnected. I mean, your job will change significantly, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't know what's going on down below. And if it gets real big, then you got to hire really good people under you to do that. But the whole point is to try to understand exactly where people are, what and the culture and philosophy of any company starts from the head down. And here at AccuSpeech, it's always been about customer service. I'm an old sales guy. It was always about customer service. We make sure that our customers are happy and that we know what they're doing. And if there's a problem, we fix it as quickly as we can. And that's everybody in the company. If a customer calls in, I don't care who it is, who is it? Why are they? Let's figure out how to fix it. So,
I love it. I love it. It's beautiful, and this is why you're doing well. But there's no secret. I always say it starts from the top. It starts with God. It's the top leadership that will create the culture, and the right culture will ensure somehow, one way or the other, that there is outstanding customer service. It's critical.
More so these days because customer service is disappearing.
It is. Yes.
That's one of my pet peeves with the AI craze, is that you can't get a real person to solve a problem anymore. And once you start, again, that's my own thing, but I like it when you call, if you have a problem, you call, pick up the phone, you actually get a person. Sometimes it takes a while, but I really appreciate when I'm on the phone with a company and I get someone to help me solve a problem. I will tell them, I really appreciate you. Thank you for helping me solve my problem. I appreciate you being there. Thank you.
Yeah.
But
it's we've, like you said, with AI, we have to show that we are human.
One
way or the other, you have to show that you're human. I always say in marketing, use videos, use podcasts, show yourself.
Yep,
show that you're not a robot that is just going to on and off switch here that will take care of you. It doesn't work this way. So that's a new way of marketing yourself now, is to become extra human.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that a lot. Extra human. I like that.
Human. All right. Well, thank you so much, Bobby. It was wonderful. Thank you for talking about what you're doing with AccuSpeechMobile, how you help warehouses and how now you start helping the food industry get over those FDA requirements so that you prepare them or you enable continued success for them, which is going to be very important going forward. So really appreciate everything you're doing and the leadership that you're bringing to that industry. It's amazing. Thank you so much.
Very kind words, Catherine. I appreciate being here anytime.
Okay, well, everyone, thank you for watching. I'm sure you enjoyed my conversation with Bob. Please get hold of him. Even if you're not sure the solution that he's offering is the right one for you, just pick up the phone. He says he loves to talk with people. Pick up the phone because you may discover something that you have not thought of and that could really improve your productivity and help your employees and create differentiation factors that can be critical for your growth, your survival going forward. So sometimes, a phone call can change everything you're doing. So I hope you will be doing this and share this video on your networks. It takes a village to change the world. I cannot do it on my own. So I count on you to do this. And I look forward to seeing you again soon here.